If you've ever ventured into Demeo, Dungeons & Dragons Battlemarked, you know that these games aren't just about rolling dice and following rules. They're about strategy, decision-making, and, most importantly, enjoying every moment as if you were sitting at an RPG table, only with video game graphics and mechanics. Today, I'm going to show you 7 advanced tips that make all the difference when the game gets tough. Those insights that go beyond the tutorial and can transform your experience from a casual player into a true master of the digital board. Whether in tactical combat, character selection, or map exploration, these tips will help you dominate the game and ensure more consistent victories. This delay turn tip in Demeo Dungeons & Dragons Battlemarked is one of those that completely changes the group strategy if you really understand how to exploit the turn system. Interestingly, the order of players isn't always fixed or irrelevant. Delaying your turn to go last can be the key to creating those absurd combos that make each round seem brilliant. More than just waiting, it's about seeing beyond your own turn. It's about calculating, anticipating, and giving space for your ally to shine first. One of the most creative uses of this mechanic happens when you have characters with magic synergy, like Lyria and Tibby. If Tibby casts a powerful elemental spell and Lyria is in position, delaying the turn allows her to copy exactly the spell that was just cast, and, depending on the situation, double the elemental or status effect in the same round. Honestly, this creates situations where enemies become completely destabilized and the group advances without suffering as much, especially in difficult encounters. The delay turn also brings a layer of improvisation and reaction that I find very fun. Instead of just thinking, who hits harder now, you start to observe the rhythm of the battle. Who needs healing before acting? Who has room to buff allies or clear debuffs? Who can best take advantage of positioning after the tanks pull aggro? All of this can be calculated if you manipulate your turn, giving space for the best possible setups to happen. In the beginning, I admit I found the delay turn a somewhat situational trick, but the more I played, the more I realized how much it influences even online cooperative matches. Coordination between players becomes much deeper because everyone starts to see the potential of acting reactively and dynamically instead of following a linear and repetitive list. In certain boss fights, this strategy completely transformed our performance, turning tense fights into surprisingly smooth victories. In practice, this mastery of the delay turn in Demeo Dungeons & Dragons Battlemarked transforms you from a reactive player into someone who controls the rhythm of combat. The feeling of copying that spell from Tibby with Lyria and seeing a debilitating status spread twice is, honestly, one of the most genuine nerd pleasures in the game. If you seek this harmony within your group, each round becomes a small, strategic spectacle. The tip to create elemental combos is one of those that make the game seem like a true laboratory of witchcraft and strategy. It's amazing how the environment can become your ally. Spreading oil or barrels on the ground is not just a detail. It's the preparation for a spectacle of destruction when you ignite everything with firebolt or fire arrow. Each area explosion has that dramatic effect that leaves the whole team excited. And the best part is knowing that you are the one who created the situation. The coolest thing is that these combos force you to think of the board as a dynamic field instead of a simple arena of static battles. Using water to put out fire or poison shows that, in the heat of battle, not everything means more damage. Sometimes, the best move is to take the fire out of the game to prevent the group from getting hurt. This gives a realistic and strategic touch that makes the game much more immersive. But be careful with the wet effect in lightning areas. This is a trick that caught many people off guard. Amplifying electrical damage may seem advantageous to you, but sometimes it's a shot in the foot. Knowing that the environment can play against or in favor requires you to always be attentive to the conditions of the terrain, making each decision heavier and full of meaning. One of the most satisfying parts of this mechanic is when you manage to freeze enemies with ice to make them lose turns. Controlling the rhythm of the battle by stopping the enemy advance creates a sense of absolute control, almost like a maestro conducting an orchestra of destruction. You're not just hitting, you're dictating the time, space, and rhythm of the duel. In the end, mastering these elemental combos transforms combat into something much more than just raw damage. It's a dance between elements, positioning, and timing. When I light an oil barrel and see that fire spread there at the right time, I feel that the game greatly rewards those who think in multiple layers, making each victory a strategic pride. That's how Demeo becomes so addictive and fun. The tip to optimize AP with movement plus attack is one of those that make combat flow much better when you can fit the perfect sequence. Knowing that you can move and attack a melee enemy with just 1 AP is a huge resource saving that opens up several strategic possibilities. It's one of those tricks that doesn't appear to everyone, but when we understand it, the game changes completely. This mechanic becomes even more powerful when combined with specific abilities, such as Ash's Stealth, the group's rogue. Taking advantage of this movement to position yourself behind the enemy and guarantee a backstab with extra damage is not only efficient, but also very satisfying. The feeling of eliminating an enemy stealthily, saving AP, gives the gameplay that taste of stealth that reminds us of the best tactical RPG games. But it doesn't stop there. Using Quick Step with bow attacks is another insight that reshapes your positioning on the board. This ability to reposition quickly, maintaining pressure on enemies, is vital for those who prefer to keep their distance and control the battle without exposing themselves too much. The movement plus attack combination with bows makes you always feel one step ahead, literally. In the midst of intense battles, this AP optimization encourages you to think fast and act more flexibly, rewarding those who know how to plan each move. Instead of spending all the AP on a heavy attack or a risky movement, you find the perfect balance to be efficient and dynamic, something that makes all the difference against aggressive enemies and in difficult bosses. This tip shows that understanding the basic mechanics of the game can dispense with waste and make your team more lethal and light at the same time. When united with characters like Ashe or archers, having this mastery makes you really feel in control of the situation, taking advantage of each action point to maximize damage and positioning, essential to be a true master in Demeo. The tip to abuse 0 AP cards at the end of the turn is one of those secrets that seems simple but makes a huge difference in the group survival. Many times, we get stuck on the idea that each card costs action points, but being aware of using free cards at the end of the turn opens another dimension of strategy. It's like having an ace up your sleeve that doesn't weigh on the resource, but still brings powerful benefits. What makes this mechanic so interesting is the possibility of playing support cards, such as healing potions, without spending AP, keeping the team on the front line for longer. In longer battles, where natural wear and tear begins to weigh, being able to recover life or apply buffs without reducing your attack options for the next turn is a huge differential. This optimization brings that feeling of always being one step ahead, almost as if you could extend the turn over time, gaining extra breath. Another highlight is for specific abilities, such as Bolthrax's Aura of Vitality or Lyria's Bardic Inspiration, which are essentially support cards and, when played at the right time without cost, increase the team's efficiency. They not only recover or strengthen, but help maintain the group's morale, something that few mechanics can translate so well in a tactical turn-based game. The best part is the flexibility of using these cards in longer turns, when all AP has been spent, but the game is not over yet. This forces players to think beyond the obvious, focusing also on moments of pause, and not just on aggressive actions. It's a smart way to maximize available resources and ensure that the group is always ready for the next challenge. In the end, knowing how to explore these free cards at the end of the round transforms your way of playing Demeo, making you more resilient and strategic. Mastering this tactic makes the difference in the most challenging encounters, where each action point and each card can be the decisive factor between defeat and victory. It's that professional touch that keeps your team alive and able to face any threat. This tip shows the power of how assembling the right team changes the rhythm of the game. Using Bolthrax as a tank with his auras and warding bond creates an almost impenetrable wall, capable of holding any enemy onslaught for a good time. This protection leaves everyone free to execute their most aggressive actions without fear, which is a differential in the most difficult phases. Meanwhile, Theric the Warrior enters with everything, using Action Surge to give that burst of quick and concentrated damage. It's like pressing the turbo button and seeing enemies fall in sequence. Combining this explosion of damage with Bolthrax's safe frontline transforms the team into a room-clearing machine, where everything flows quickly and efficiently, avoiding unnecessary wear and tear. On the other hand, Jessex, the Ranger, brings a more flexible and strategic style, using summons like wolves and rats to distract opponents and apply ranged attacks twice per round. This technique adds another layer of field control and survival, because she can both deal damage and protect her colleagues, balancing aggression and defense with mastery. Testing these combinations and seeing how they work in practice is one of the aspects that makes the game so addictive for me. The feeling of assembling a meta build that allows you to clear rooms quickly, with each hero fulfilling their role perfectly, reveals the tactical depth of the game. It's like assembling a champion team and feeling the power of synergy working in your favor, which makes each victory seem like a genuine achievement. This tip reminds me how Demeo values teamwork and strategic experimentation. Mastering these synergies means not only surviving, but transforming each combat into a tactical ballet where each hero shines in their moment. If you enjoy games that reward deep knowledge of mechanics and careful team building, this meta build is an excellent starting point. This tip to customize skill trees beyond what the game recommends is something that has always caught my attention, because it goes beyond simply following the standard path. Investing in specific secondaries, such as Charisma and Theric, for intimidation in social events, is a way to ensure that your character is not only strong in combat, but also relevant in less predictable situations. This brings an additional layer of immersion and versatility that many players end up leaving aside. The coolest point of this tip is that you create hybrid builds that can surprise, combining different styles and functions. For example, a tank that also has magical or social skills, thanks to the right investment in traits with card icons, never gets stuck in a single role. This makes the game allow for more creative, personalized, and, frankly, much more fun strategies than just focusing on the conventional. In addition, these traits are a hidden bonus that goes straight to your deck, expanding the options you have in combat and even outside of it. This creation of hybrid builds, like Tank Mage, opens doors to situations where you have attacks, defenses, and even social utilities, all in the same character, making each encounter different because you have several resources in hand to deal with the challenges. For me, this tip is one of the best ways to connect your way of playing to the classic tabletop RPG, where customizing the character beyond the official sheet is part of the magic of the game. You end up delving into the universe and creating a richer experience because your hero is really your way, not just a copy of the game's standard template. This brings more narrative and strategic value to each decision. In the end, investing in secondary abilities and traits is a step to be more than just a player following the rules, and more someone creating a unique and multifunctional character. This freedom to experiment and adapt your deck and skills is what makes Demeo so special, especially for those who like to explore all corners of the system and get the most out of each game experience. This tip to control the map with hazards and summons is essential for those who want to dominate the arena for real and turn the terrain into a deadly trap for enemies. Placing barrels or flasks at choke points creates denial zones that limit enemy movement, forcing them to pass through dangerous areas or leave space for attacks from your team. This zone denial tactic not only protects your group, but also channels enemies to where you want, which is a huge tactical advantage. In addition, using Ash's abilities such as Gas Bomb and Throw Dagger to set traps is a perfect way to increase control of the battlefield. These traps are great for catching enemies off guard or delaying their advance, giving your team time to reposition or accumulate damage on the right targets. It's like setting up a smart trap that hurts with every wrong step of the enemies. Speaking of summons, Jessix is a key character for this strategy. She can summon wolves or rats that function as tanks for bosses, absorbing damage while the rest of the team applies pressure from a distance. Having these companions on the field changes the rhythm of the fight because they divide the attention of the enemies, allowing the group to focus on safer and more coordinated attacks. Another powerful insight is to prepare follow-ups, such as Acid Breath, that can clear large groups of enemies, 7 or more. This creates a devastating effect that can turn the game in complicated crowd situations, clearing the way quickly for the next objectives. This combination of control and damage explosion is what differentiates experienced players from beginners. Mastering hazards and summons means thinking of Demeo as a tactile chess game, where each space on the map can be manipulated to your advantage. If you combine these tools with the abilities of your heroes, the result is a team that controls the field, minimizes risks, and maximizes damage. And that makes all the difference to clear the rooms quickly and with style.
Are they hiding from my eyes at dawn? Fading from view, they disappear. I am blinded by the dark. And all alone. But I don't need to see, so just tell me where to go. Even though all my light has been fading, and I won't need to be there to face the unknown. But tonight I've been blinded by the dark. Without fear, I will reach for new doors.